Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager. So, I am going to be talking to you about how to have safe communication after infidelity. How to have how to create safe communication after infidelity. And I have done a lot of work on this for many years. And there are certain things I want to talk about how to create it. When I get these questions, so I'm going to answer 5 questions that I get a lot. And one question is, how do I handle my overwhelming emotions when trying to communicate? Now, you have a person on either end of the spectrum, the person who betrayed, the person who was a victim of the betrayal. There's a lot of emotion there. And how do I handle it? For one thing, of course, you need to be able to express yourself to your partner in a way that will work for your partner. So screaming and yelling and hollering is really not going to be effective. So when you know you have overwhelming emotions, the first step I always tell people is to breathe. Do not try to suppress your emotions. Don't try to push them down. Feel your emotions and breathe. Breathe through them. Breathe through them. Okay. You could write about it to the point where you could at least not feel overwhelmed. But a lot of times people are afraid of becoming overwhelmed with their emotions. But when they start to speak to their partner, it's not as bad as they think it's going to be. What do we mean by overwhelmed, right? If a person is very emotional, it doesn't mean you're overwhelmed by them. You just have a lot of them. Now, part of what will help the person handle overwhelming emotions is the person who is listening, the partner, is ready to, it makes a decision. I am here for you no matter what you say. I am here for you no matter what. And so maybe let that person know that I will handle it. I can handle it. The problem I see with couples is one person is overwhelmed and the other person shuts down, ducks, and it makes it worse. My duck, metaphorically duck, avoids, leaves, judges. Why are you reacting so strongly? You already talked about this before. Those kinds of things will not help. They only escalate. So if you have a partner that is at that level of communication, not so good, I wouldn't even do it yet. I would get some coaching. I would have him get some coaching. So he's able to handle he or her, or they. I'll say they, the one who betrayed, will be able to not be so overwhelmed by the emotions they have when your emotions are strong. And that will help you not be overwhelmed because you have someone who's there. You can see it in that person's eyes. So a lot of it is beforehand, you even start making the decision that I will express myself in a way that's not going to overwhelm you, even if I feel a lot of feelings. And then the partner is basically, I am there for you no matter what. And I'm here for you. And I'm not ducking and I'm not avoiding and I'm not judging. I am able to handle you. That's important. I've seen couples where the betrayed person was so emotional, so upset, but the other person, because they were ready, they stayed it and they looked at their partner. Sometimes they've even said to their partner, I'm here for you. I'm right here. I'm right here. I know what I did. I was terrible, but I'm right here for you. I'm with you. I'm with you. That can be very settling to a person who's very emotional and who's afraid that they'll have overwhelming emotions. Here's second question. What if my partner wants to rush back to normal too quickly? What if they want everything back to normal? See that a lot. Usually it's the person who betrayed. They want everything back to normal. I'm not going to do it again. I told you. I stopped lying. Why? Let's just have back to normal. Why are you holding on to it? Their partner needs coaching. Okay. If the person, you got to tell a person to read up on what it's like to be betrayed. And betrayed people have it's going to be a while before they recover. And the whole phrase of back to normal is never going to be back to normal. The old normal is out. Okay. Now we want a new normal that will encompass the fact that you were cheated on and you were betrayed and there was infidelity, and the relationship will never be what it was before because you have that information. What makes the relationship work is when the couple can communicate and they can stay present for each other. And after a while of building, I share, you listen, you share, I listen, you're developing a probably a kind of communicative patterns you never had before. And that over time, it becomes a new normal. And it's a better normal in a sense. Not that the infidelity is good. It's a terrible thing. It's very hurtful. But in terms of the patterns that we can develop and what we can learn from it, we can oftentimes communicate better than we had ever before. So if your partner wants to rush back to normal too quickly, don't take it personally. Don't think you're doing something wrong. Why can't I just get over it? It's not on you. It's on your partner to be patient and to slow down. Another question I get, and a lot of times it's from the person who did the betrayal. They'll say, when is it my turn? I know what I did. It was hurtful, but when do I get a chance to be heard by my partner, even though I was the one that committed the infidelity? And that's a good question. And that person did a painful thing, no question. But it's surely not going to help if that person is never understood. As a matter of fact, my stance with infidelity oftentimes is the person who betrayed oftentimes had deficiencies in their own childhood, in their own earlier life, where they didn't feel understood, whether it was, I'm not blaming the partner here, but their experience might not have been, they felt understood, even by parents, and when they were younger, a lot of times. So the person who betrayed, if ever they're going to be trustworthy, they also need to feel heard. They need to be able to regulate their emotions in a new and different way. I try to say to the couple that it's important for them to switch back and forth. I express and you listen, and when I'm expressing, you don't express. You just listen. And after you listen completely, then you now get to express. And I don't express when you're expressing, I listen. And we learn to take turns, just like we do with any board game, checkers, cards, Monopoly, whatever, right? We don't all go at the same time. And it is important for both people to express and for both people to be heard. I've had just a couple today and another one yesterday where the person who was betrayed said, for the first time, I feel like I'm getting to know my partner. My partner never shared. Because I have said this in other areas that oftentimes people that have this avoidant attachment style, they tend to not really let others get too close. They oftentimes are more prone to cheat. That's not the only attachment style where that people will commit infidelity, but it's definitely a very common one. So the two of these partners who were betrayed said it was nice to actually get something real from my partner, what my partner's really feeling and being vulnerable with me. And it actually made the person who was betrayed to feel a little safer, like, at least I'm getting to know you, right? Think about this. Infidelity is about a secret and it's about hiding. So when your partner who cheated is now not hiding even their emotions and their difficulties and their sharing, there can be the beginning of a feeling of safety and trust. So that was the third question. The fourth question I hear is, how do I express my hurt without pushing my partner away? Now, typically, that's a big question, and if I could just think of clients that have said things like that. Maybe not exactly those words. Um, I'm afraid to tell my partner what I really feel because I'm afraid that person will just want to cheat again. You cannot compromise yourself. You cannot try to regulate your partner by stuffing yourself. That will never work. That will never work. So you need to be willing. I'll say it like this. You need to be willing to lose your partner. If what it takes to have your partner and for them not to go away is for you not to express yourself, then that's not going to work. So instead, express yourself. And if your partner starts to go away, you're not pushing their partner away. Maybe that whole phrase is a misnomer. You are just sharing what's going on with you. And that person has to develop the emotional muscle to stay connected to you. And if they don't have it, they got to do whatever they can to develop that emotional muscle, just like you go to a gym and develop physical muscle. So it's really very important for you not to adapt to a person who is giving you the message, I'm only going to be okay if you don't express yourself. That will, again, like I say, never work. Of course, if you're expressing your hurt, you want to use I statements. A phrase I use is clean communication, where your intent with clean communication is to inform the person. It's like, here I am, I'm being naked, I'm opening my eyes, I'm being emotionally naked to you, and I'm letting you know what's in my heart, what's in my belly, what am I experiencing. That's clean communication. Unclean communications where you have other intentions, like I'm going to punish you, which are understandable. People who have been betrayed due to infidelity will definitely have the urge to punish at times. I understand that. But if you want to have communication, express yourself without the other person going away, then the one thing that I could say on your end is to make I statements, inform the other person, don't have the agenda of pushing you away, or punishing you, or even sometimes people unconsciously are trying to make the relationship end because they're so angry or they're so scared. So you want to be clear what your intent is. And when you communicate, your intent needs to be clean. I'm just informing you what I'm feeling. And that usually it sounds something like this. I'm feeling so devastated by what you did. I thought we had a different kind of marriage than we actually had. That is clean. All you're doing is saying what you're experiencing. And your partner needs to know, like I said before, develop the emotional muscle to not go away and to stay connected and to make your well-being more important than their comfort. Okay. You expressing your hurt, your anguish, your feelings is not going to make your partner feel comfortable. That's okay. You have to develop a kind of relationship where you could both handle that kind of discomfort. Last question I get a lot in terms of, again, subject matter is creating safe communication after infidelity. What do I do if my partner gets defensive when I share my feelings? That's a very good question. I have, think, a pretty good answer. Expect it. Don't say I give up as soon as that person's defensive. We are all defensive. We have survival mechanisms. Our brain, we just try to protect ourselves. The parts of our brain that go, oh, I'm in trouble. Person who betrayed, let's say, is just trying to not be in trouble, so they get defensive. It could go the other way as well, when the other person's hurt and they get defensive too because they feel like they're being judged. They already feel you cheated on me. When am I not good enough? So they might get defensive for those reasons. Don't give up on that person. Just calmly point it out. I understand you're getting defensive, but that's not what I need. I need you to stay with me. Drop your defense, drop your agenda, and just be with me. Tune into me. That's what I need. So can we try this again? You don't want to give up. In a way, letting the other person off the hook. Of course you're defensive. If you can I know it's not easy because you're already in a lot of pain. Either person, but I'm speaking now from the person who was betrayed. And if you have some feelings and that person gets defensive, I know I'm asking you a lot. Say, You're getting defensive. I understand, but that's not going to help. I need you to stay with me. That's what I need. That's what will make this relationship better. Um, so that's the best thing you could do. Or you could even say, are you willing to do this again and not be defensive? Because I need you to hear me and understand me. Stand firm, stand for yourself, ask for what you want, and don't give up in the first sign of defensiveness, which is a reflex we all have. Give that person a chance to be mature, to grow a muscle, grow emotional muscle. Now, if that person absolutely refuses, then of course at that point you go, not going to try that. It's toxic for me. It's not helpful for me. Get a therapist such as myself, a coach such as myself to help you. But I surely wouldn't give up. You might want to try it 2, 3 times before you give up. And after that, I think that's enough. If the person absolutely refuses to drop their defense and they need to get some help so that they can stand present and solid for you when you're expressing your hurt. And it goes either way again. Person who betrayed has their own pain, and the person who was the victim of the infidelity needs to, even though we acknowledge the pain, needs to at some point get to the point where they allow the other person to express themselves for reasons I said before. For reasons I said before. Infidelity is a symptom of other things. It's a very big problem, but it's not the core problem. It's a result of other things. And creating safe communication between the couple is probably the most important part of the healing. I'm not saying it's the only part of the healing, but it's probably the most important part of the healing, to develop this attuned communication. So I'm hoping that helps. Thanks for listening. This is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.